Podcast topic for you: the Dave Ramsey plan. Do you agree with that, both for personal and business, or just business, or just personal, which is no debt?
Yeah, or very little debt. He would agree that you can get a mortgage for a house, but I think he said you have to pay it back in 15 years or something like that.
Could be. I don't know what he said.
I definitely think that our whole society needs to get on the Dave Ramsey plan. And
well, they're going to be forced to.
They're going to be forced to. Our federal government is not going on the Dave Ramsey plan. They came out with a budget today that made Justin Trudeau's budgets look like the light version.
Really?
Yeah, it was wild. I want to say it was 60 or 70 billion in spending just this year, deficit spending.
And how much is our debt right now? Total Canadian debt.
You could check it out. I'm going to guess it's about $1 trillion. That would be my guess. It's mostly funny it's pathetic. But I remember when Stephen Harper was the prime minister in the good old days, and some people hate Stephen Harper, so get them riled up. But I remember when he was doing deficits, I want to say of like 4 to 6 billion, and that was just he was getting lambasted by the Liberal Party back
4 to 6 million,
4 to 6 billion, right? And now we're running 15, 20 times that, and we're not in a technical recession right now. That's what's humorous. Like in 2 years from now, we will be in 26, 27, we'll be in a real trough. That's my guess. Like I would say next year, things will really hit the fan. And
it's
then
$30,000 per Canadian.
Yeah. So it's $1 trillion, right? There's about 40 million, 1.2 trillion. Yeah. The reason these numbers, I thought about talking about this on the podcast, it's actually better to say what you just said. Right?
Yes. Because that makes you understand what it actually cost you.
Now, when you say that, that's for every person that just came out of the womb today too, right?
Exactly.
Like everybody's on the hook. And the 9-year-old that's on social assistance and doesn't even own a thing.
And think about this. So 40% of Canadians work for the government. That means the other 60%
have to pay their wage and pay back the deficit.
Exactly. So the amount of weight that's on the people that I can actually pay it is probably much higher than $30,000 per person. It's probably like $150,000 per person or more. Which, go put that on every person in Canada. The whole thing sinks.
Man, is that enough? No, that's not enough.
What? What are you calculating?
I'm calculating times 0.04 equals...
We actually got another question about...
No, we got to stick with this. What is it? 48 billion. Yeah, I read that right. That was today. There's 48 billion in interest costs.
Per day.
No, per year. 4.8 billion a year. The interesting part about that is, and this is why it doesn't matter who I'm dealing with. I've been on boards of nonprofits my own life. If your debt is not paying for itself and making money, it's bad debt. It's a disaster. And everybody always, doesn't matter.
But also the level of risk, though, because it can be today, but won't necessarily be tomorrow if the interest rates go up or whatever it is. There has to be a level of
carrying costs. Fair enough. In business, for sure, and personally, I guess I look at it as a country. Even if I would consider myself a socialist, actually, in a lot of ways. But if you're a person that's very left,
can you clarify that, please?
Why I'm a socialist?
Yeah.
Because I just think I would look at a socialist as somebody that just thinks people should care for people and we should care for people's society.
That's called a Christian.
Okay, fair enough. Anyways, but I don't like the term of if you're a capitalist, you only care about the money, or it's we should care for people. Right. But once you get in a spot like we're in now with $48 billion in carrying costs on our debt, that's $48 billion. And I don't know, I should have done a bunch of math and this would be a really good podcast, but can you imagine the amount of healthcare or the amount of, education or the amount of positive things that you could do with 48 billion in our country? Instead, every time we borrow money, we are taking tomorrow's dollars and saying, hey, we need it so badly, we're going to piss it away today so we can have less tomorrow. And anyways, I'm a big Dave Ramsey guy.
They're just saying, I want to get elected next time and I'm going to spend as much money as I can. I don't even think
it's that. I think it's just incapable of making really hard choices. Incapable that is very in the common. Present moment, that's right? We're all guilty of that, and politicians are the worst.
You know what the interesting thing is? The Bible says learn to do that at home first, and then you'll be able to do it out in the real world.
Okay.
We don't I think those basic things of being brilliant at the basics of being principled and having values and stuff like that. You got to teach it young and stick to it.
Yeah.
Because you can't, if you're not going to be principled in the small things, you're not going to be principled in the things.
It is hard too. I'm sure a lot of people that are MPs now, maybe even our MP, Mark Strahl, probably in a lot of ways, their private life is pretty clean and they probably don't have, they probably run pretty prudent fiscal personal households. And once you get into any bureaucratic situation, obviously as you climb up the levels of government from municipal to federal, I would assume it gets harder and harder. It's such a monstrosity of a bunch of waste that it's like, hey, where do you even start?
Yeah.
We start with the CBC.
Start by telling
Start
the
with
truth.
the CBC.
Start by just telling what you believe. Well, someone actually sent a question in that said, if you're elected prime minister, your first 3 changes, keep in mind you want to get reelected. That last part, I can't answer that question because I would never think that way. Like, I want to get reelected. No, like, got to do the right thing. Like, I can't think of it in a different way than that. Like, then all of a sudden I have to start being like,
I think it would become more nuanced than that. I think you would, if you were in that spot, you would think, hey, how much change am I actually going to be able to make if I'm only here for 1 term? So you would justify it. You'd be like, oh, I probably need to be here, if I'm not here 2 terms, like, hey, can I bridge the gap and make some changes now? I think I
would just say from the start, if you're being really honest in your campaign about what you're going to do and not going to do, then when you're in power, you can just follow through with that. And if then they have elected you on that platform, so now you can just follow through with it. And if they don't put you in through next time, well, then the system worked.
Yeah.
I don't know. But what would you do? Your first 3 changes are?
Cut.
Yes. Chainsaw.
Chainsaw. Yeah, it'd be ugly. It's going to need to be ugly at some point. And obviously the longer you wait, the worse it is going to be.
Yeah. Privatize a lot. Get rid of red tape.
Yeah, privatize. To some degree. I do feel like
you want to get the government in control?
No, but I just think there are certain things where, when you have private companies do them, there'll be a host of problems on the other side that, you're not thinking of at this moment. But
fair enough. I'm not saying there's not going to be problems on the other side.
Definitely privatize Canada Post. Canada Post is done and CBC is done.
They're capped.
Done. The mail will get delivered and some company will come along and get your letter to grandma over to her by snail mail if that's what needs to happen.
Yeah. And get some real judges. Like, how is this the Supreme Court of Canada? Oh, man. It's hard not to, do you have it a little bit where you're with the news that you're just like, it's so crazy at what's happening in Canada or just in the world where you just stop listening and looking?
And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that to some degree, there are people that, like Marie and I have talked about this. We have friends that are not on. I think even just getting off social media, if you just read the newspaper, let's say, and you did not watch
anything. Get a lockbox.
Well, so just literally, if you did not have any social media platform and you only read the newspaper as your source of kind of, so you're somewhat involved in current events, you'd be a way healthier and happier person.
You would be, yeah.
Every video and every post is curated to, create some type of, emotional response. And even that judge decision, I mean, obviously it's total BS and there's serious issues when things like child pornography are, minimized in any way. Yeah. But I think the idea of it is like, hey, somebody is selling clicks and selling your information because you're following something, right? So I don't know. I struggle with the whole social media piece, even though I am on there.
Yeah. What else you want to talk about?
Oh man.
Did you read the chapter?
I did. We could talk about
Gary, it. Did you read it or did you?
I read it how I always read it.
Okay, well, let's read it.
Skimmed it.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. Did I talk about? There's the budget today. We're recording on Tuesday.
Private healthcare, it says in here, sermon on prayer. That was a banger of a sermon from Jorge on Sunday.
Yeah, it was good.
That was so awesome on prayer.
It was good.
It was actually easier to pray on Monday.
I mostly just thought people should listen to it. I thought it was, I think it was very practical.
Yeah. Central Community Church podcast, Chilliwack campus, if you're interested. Hey guys, if you enjoyed that episode and were blessed by it, would you be willing to support the show? That would help a lot in creating more content, improving the quality of the content, putting the production value, getting more guests on, and me being able to spend more time and energy towards it. So if you're interested in doing that, you can click up here and it'll take you to a support page. But you can also subscribe to the podcast by clicking over here and doing that. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.